Hi, welcome to the garden today. Today we're going to kind of talk about why do my plants look stunted, or why are my plants stunted in your raised bed mainly. You came in and you put this raised bed together. You had a lot of compost. You added some really good soil, and you planted your garden and your plants. Now this isn't in the ground, but your plants look something like that. Just not thriving, not growing good. It's got a lot of yellow on it. You know what happened? And honestly, on this bed here, this is not growing in the bed. It's another. It's in that pot back there. My carrots, didn't grow real good, and I got onions here that just didn't produce real well this year. And I'm going to mention it, and there's really three main reasons. And I know whenever you put compost or something like there. There's really three reasons, okay? So the first reason I'm going to talk about, just because that's the reason that my bed is suffering, this thing called tree roots. Got a big tree right there. I've got a big tree right there, big tree right there. I got trees all around me. The water runs off here. Don't worry about that plant. I got to pull it off the deal. It's bad, okay? And what happens is we put this raised bed in right where all these roots are growing, and whenever you dig down in here, and I've not dug down here yet. Okay, I can't hear it. I just know it's down here. Now all that's been growing in this bed has been onions, a few weeds, very few weeds, and carrots. So what's this? This is a tree root, probably an oak root, okay? This thing is full of it, okay? That's why in this bed I do have problems with that. Now, if you don't have any trees around, that's not a problem. If you say, well, my tree, it's a good 30, 40 feet, maybe 100 foot from the closest tree, could still be a problem. Remember, the circumference of a tree, the majority of roots are from the drip line of the tree to, however it is from the drip line of the tree to the trunk, that much further out is where the majority of the roots are. So roots can get in these raised beds because, hey, when it's dry, these raised beds, you're going to be watering it, a lot of fertility, it attracts those roots. And that's a problem. These fabric pots like that, same thing. I've had fabric pots where something wasn't growing very good, and I tried to move it and had all kinds of tree roots coming up over from the bottom, keeping them down. So if you got fabric pots, you can move those around every once in a while to minimize that, or put them on concrete to minimize it. That is a problem with this raised bed. And it, I think last fall I dug all this up, trying to take all the roots I could out of it. They still come back. Okay, but you say I don't have any roots. That's not the problem. And really, that's probably one of the minor reasons that it can happen, but that can happen. If it's a brand new bed, it's probably not, because they haven't had a chance. The trees now know that the raised bed's here, so they invade it even quicker. The next thing people will say is, I'm going to say, they'll say Grazon. They've got some type of herbicide that, they bought some compost, and they think the herbicide has come in there and it has stunted the plants or killed the plants. Now, that is a problem. That is a condition that can happen. It's not extremely rare. It does happen. But why that happens, and I kind of go through it, I am a hay buyer. I got a horse. I want to buy my hay. I want my hay to have as little weeds in it as possible, because it has, whenever you put the herbicides in, it kills the weeds. I get all grass, which the horse eats, so it's better quality hay. All right? You may agree or disagree with that, but if I'm going to buy hay, I don't want to have a bunch of weeds in the hay. I want to have either Bermuda grass or Bahia grass, which is the two. That's what we grow around here. So a lot of times they will put out herbicide, and even sometimes I put up Roundup. Roundup is not the problem. Roundup breaks down, never going to be a problem in a compost. Now put 2,4-D down, same thing. 2,4-D breaks down quickly, not a problem. It can be a problem if it blows in on you or if it volatilizes and move over, you know, hitting it, but it's not going to be in the soil itself. What is a problem is, and I was supposed to research this and I forgot, but number one is picloram, which is sold by Grazon used to use it, called Grazon P plus D. We still refer to it that. I used to work for the government. USDA as a soil conservationist. I still refer to it as Grazon P plus D because that's what they called it back when I first started. But it had picloram 2,4-D. 2,4-D is not a problem for compost, but the picloram is a pre-emergent herbicide. It also a little bit contact herbicide also, and that gets into the grass or the hay. And what'll happen more than where they're grazing it, but they'll go in there and they'll put it in the hay. They'll cut the hay, and the hay will suck up some of that herbicide, and then it doesn't break down really quickly in the hay itself, so they'll start feeding that hay, and as horses do, they stay in the stall, you feed them the hay, they poop it out. The digestion system does not destroy the herbicide. It's stable. Then they'll take all the poop, the manure, and they'll put it in a big, pile. And that lower area, because the picloram is water soluble, it'll kind of concentrate down toward the bottom. And then people will shovel it up, or the companies will shovel it up, and some of that will have a higher concentration of that picloram. It can also happen with dicamba. And Grazon came with another one called Grazon Next. It was an old Reclaim, was the original brand name for it. It was even more stable, and it seemed to cause even more problem than the picloram. And because it was really shelf stable in the barn. They was taking hay, they were testing it, and it was tested the same when they put it in the barn as it was a year later. So it's just, it's nothing nefarious, no government agency, no big ag or whatever. It's just the nature of the thing. And what would happen is they'd buy the hay. You usually don't ask what the hay was sprayed with. May not care, because I don't, it's not a problem for me. I feed to my horse. And then somebody else will take that horse manure, they'll bag it up, and then they may go ahead and go through that heat process of composting. That doesn't break down the herbicide, so it's still in there. And there is a rare case that it can come up and, cause a problem. And that's where we're talking about herbicide residue. You have some of the herbicide gets in there. And the best way to find out if it's the herbicide or not, plant you some corn. Because all those that I've mentioned, the Grazon Next, the Grazon P plus D, the dicamba, they primarily, almost exclusively, kill broadleaf plants. So if you plant corn, it's not going to affect that corn, unless it was a super high. But let's get in the real world, that doesn't happen very often, if ever. So if you plant that corn, the corn grows fine. I'm sorry to tell you, you probably got a problem with Grazon or one of the herbicides. But if that corn is stunted, guess what? It's not herbicide. So what'll happen is, this is how the soil should look. Okay, it's all broken down. It's just soil. You don't see a lot of chips, a lot of chunks or whatever. That's actually good. I'll be back here just a second. If your soil looks like this, okay, it's got a lot of chips in it. That's just a residue. It's got a lot of chips, a lot of wood products and stuff of that nature, and you haven't put on any commercial fertilizer or synthetic fertilizer, what happens is, and that's not bad, you get enough of that in your raised beds, okay, your bacteria is going to attack all that stuff and it's going to break it down. That's just a natural thing. That's what you want to happen. But what it does is it reaches up and it starts grabbing the nitrogen, because that's what it uses to break down those chips. And the more surface area you have on these chips, you know, the more it's going to suck up the moisture, or it's going to suck up the nitrogen, not moisture. And if you have something that breaks down really quickly, that's going to be more stuff grabbing it. Grass clippings has a lot of surface area. It breaks down really quickly. It's going to suck up all the nutrients, all the bacteria. It's going to suck up all that nitrogen out of your soil. And your plant is going to look like this, without the burnt edges necessarily, but that yellowish look, okay? That's just the way it goes. So it's not a herbicide. Now, how do you fix these problems? Well, with the tree roots, you can dig it up every year, put out as many roots as you can. You can take a sharpshooter, go all the way around it, trying to cut the roots on it. It would help. It would probably be the best thing for this thing would be to build it up and put or take it out, put some cement blocks down and get it up off the ground so it'd be hitting those cement blocks so that it would deter the roots from getting in there. Or just don't plant the thing by a freaking tree. As far as the Grazon, give it time, okay? Within a year or two, it's probably going to be saturated enough it's not going to be causing much of a problem. One thing you want to do is plant your corn, plant forage sorghum, plant onions, things that it does not affect, and then take those plants. Like if I was to grow a bunch of corn, if I had residue in here, plant me a bunch of corn, fertilize that corn up, make it grow big and tall, cut the stalks off, haul it off. And that will help suck out some of that nutrients, or some of that herbicide. It will also, when you're watering it, it is, you know, it is water soluble, so it will help leach that stuff out and get rid of it. We're in a high rainfall area, raining right now for the 6th day in a row, or 7th. That will help alleviate it too. It's kind of a short term. I know when you read the label, it's going to say it may be up to 8 to 10 years. I don't think so. I mean, I could be wrong. Like I say, I worked 40 years in government. That wasn't the long-term one. There was another called Treflan. Yeah, that stuff lasted a long time. But this other, with the pickram stuff, I mean, we would try, if we were going to spray a field, we're just going to plant a field of clover, we'd say do not spray with those chemicals in the spring of the year. We let it go over a year, and then it would not affect it. If you sprayed those chemicals, you know, in the summer and then tried to plant clover, it would kill a large part of that clover, or had the potential to. So yes, it is. It does take months. I don't think it takes years. Okay. And so, you know, that's kind of it. Now, a lot of people say, well, I'm going to rip it all out and bring in new stuff. That would be an alternative. I just think that that's wasting a lot of time and energy. This stuff is not necessarily toxic to people any greater than anything else is. I mean, everything, salt can kill you, okay? If you take, I think it's 8 ounces of salt, will kill 50% of the people that take it all at one time. You know, that's its toxicity level. I think, and that's what I've been told on another YouTube channel, with Toss Tools, it was 8 ounces for salt. No, wait, it was 4 ounces for salt. It was 8 ounces for Roundup. Okay? So, not defending Roundup, don't want to put Roundup in your stuff. I understand that, but it's not going to hurt your soil long term. Okay? It's just, I've not seen any studies that's done that. I've never heard anybody talk about that. It says, hey, we've been, you know, applying Roundup, now nothing to grow. It was true with some of the other chemicals they used, you know, mentioning Treflan, but not for the Roundup. But the dicamba and stuff like that, I do think that it's going to dissipate in a while. Now, if it's not the herbicide, but it's, you know, I already mixed it up. But if it's because you got too much organic matter in there, it's going to fix itself. But I don't like to wait. I'm impatient. And I also don't have a problem using synthetic fertilizers. Easiest way, if you find out you've got too much woody stuff in there, apply you some high nitrogen, readily available fertilizer. Urea is the cheapest. It's 45% nitrogen. You buy a 50 pound bag for like $25. At least that's what it was before we had all the war in Iraq and all that, and closing the Strait of Hormuz. I've not checked it since then, but this early this spring, it cost me about $22, $23 for a 50-pound bag. If you buy it the same place that farmers buy their fertilizer, you know, not Tractor Supply, places like that, but your local feed stores. I know you can always find triple 13. It's another good option, though you're probably not going to need the phosphorus and potassium, but it is 13%. You want something that's got more than 10% nitrogen to it. Avoid your organic part, because your organics, guess what? It requires bacteria to break it down, so it's going to make, for temporarily, it's going to suck even more nitrogen out of your soil. Your synthetics really don't need that. There's a minor amount of bacteria, but it's quick. I mean, it's just boom, it's done. You can put synthetic fertilizers on a plant, and within 2 or 3 days, you're noticing a difference. Okay, with your organics, it's going to take 2 or 3 weeks. Triple 13, something of that nature. It would be nice if you have alkaline soil. You use ammonium sulfate, not aluminum, but ammonium sulfate is 2100. Good fertilizer to use. Put it down, water it in. You want to water it in after you apply it, so you make sure it gets into the root zone. Because if you put nitrogen on top of the soil and it turns into that gas, which is what you want to be readily available, it just goes up in the atmosphere. It's a gas. So you got to get into the soil so it can't get out. I mean, that's the same thing with even organics. You put a bunch of compost on the ground, don't till it in, a lot of that nitrogen leaves and goes up in the atmosphere. But anyway, that's the 3 main reasons, and that's kind of the easy ways to fix the 3. Like I say, if it's roots, try to get rid of the roots. If it's the toxicity, try to grow crops on it, leach the stuff out of it, put a lot of water on it, you can get rid of it. And the third, if it's, you know, nutrients, not having enough nitrogen on it, just apply some high nitrogen to it and you can fix it. Again, a lot of times it's going to be the fact you got too much wood in your, if it's a new bed, and I tell people this, and I never pay attention to my own advice, but if I'm going to put in a raised bed and I want it to work really well, go out and get that really high, you know, go out and get you that dump truckload of the really good premium soil. It's going to probably have a lot of this wood chips in it. It's not going to grow anything for about 6 months to a year, and after that, it's going to grow really good. If you want to bypass that 6 months to a year, just add you some synthetic fertilizers. It'll take care of it. I've got a lot of really good growth in it. Now your manures, you know, black cow, you'll see a difference, you know, as long as you don't get the herbicide in it. But kind of talking in a circle there, but really, whenever you're first starting your raised beds, don't be afraid to put some synthetic fertilizer on it. Even if you plan on going all organic later, cheat a little bit. Don't have to tell your neighbors. No one has to know about it. You'll get an extra year crop in it. And really, I've never understood people that were scared of synthetic fertilizers. Now, if you totally rely on synthetic fertilizers, it is bad for the soil long term because you're just adding certain nutrients in the ground. You're not helping soil till. You're not really building up, a reserve. You do have boom and bust. I understand all that, but at this particular time, you've got an imbalance of not enough nitrogen, and we got a way to inject that nitrogen in there and fix it without just having to wait for time to take care of it. And but anyway, that's kind of the reason. Like I say, and if you don't want to use synthetic fertilizers and you've got some new stuff in it, and your corn's not growing good in it, it's not herbicides that's your problem. It's just going to take time. Let it break down. It's a natural process. Next year you have a really good garden. This year, if you add synthetics, if you apply it in the spring, you might get a good fall garden, but it may take even that next year. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, put down in the comments and I'll answer them. Thanks.